I'm Katrina, and this is Sew and Tare. It is way past time for me to thin this peach tree. Now, if you remember, I did a pruning video, and I pruned this peach tree, and I know that some people may have been worried that I was pruning too hard, but let me show you what this peach tree has done. It is time to get rid of even more fruits. So, look at that. I have all these peaches in here, just growing and growing, super close together. There's more over here. Oh, there's only one there. But they're all over this tree. That one's getting big. All up there. All over here. Alright, you get the idea? We're gonna have enough peaches. We've had windstorms, we've had some rainstorms, and some of the little fruits have fallen down. Not many at all. So that's the number one pruning, is nature. Nature prunes. Number two, why would you prune this? We have tons of fruit. Why not let them all grow? Well, if you let them all grow, then the tree won't be able to focus this energy into a few fruits. It'll focus in all of them, which means it's going to have less energy to any one fruit, which means the fruits will be smaller. They're going to be smaller because of how close they are together, just space-wise, and they're going to be smaller just because of the amount of energy it takes to make that many peaches. So what other thing will happen is, because they're smaller, there's less meat per peel, so you're going to get more of the peel flavor and less of the meat flavor of the peach. And for most people, that's not as good as experience. It's a little more bitter, it's not as sweet, and we like to have a lot more meat and then less peel. So the surface area of the peel is greater for the actual fruit. So, hi chickens. Chickens are talking. So that is a reason why we're going to be doing this. You're going to get a much better product, and you're going to get actually more product, because I've had peaches on when I have not thinned this, I've had peaches this big, and they were okay, but they weren't my favorite. So this peach tree does really well, and it actually doesn't even have peach leaf curl this year, which is amazing. Hopefully I finally got rid of it. Although I've heard it goes systemic, so maybe I didn't. We'll see. But I'm going to be I'm going to be thinning these fruits, and I'll take you along for a little bit of it, and then you'll know how to prune your fruits. It's super easy. You just pick them off. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to be collecting the fruits I pick off in this. I don't know, I'll probably scour the internet and see if I can do anything with them, but probably just compost them. Alright, here we go. So I think leaving 2 fruits like this is fine, because they'll have enough room to grow, but it's better if there's more on it. Like there's only 2 fruits on that branch, so I just leave it there, but 3 is too much. But if it's a branch like this one, well, let's do one you can see. If it's a branch like this one, then what I do is I try and give them room. I can alternate the sides and all of that. So this is how I do that. Try and zoom in. Something else you can start to do, we've had some wind in here, so I'm not really gonna do this, but you can start just by shaking the branches and seeing what falls. And if it falls, then that's something that was going to be pruned off anyway. So you can start by doing that. In this case, we've had some windstorms, so I don't feel that it's necessary to do for this case. Now here's a case where this one is much smaller than any other, so I choose this one to pick. You can also realize that this is going to be very heavy, and you can either just realize it and accept it, or take more fruit off of it. It depends what you're wanting out of this particular branch. If you're wanting to develop that branch in a particular way, you want it to be much lighter than if you're just going to be trimming it back next year with the pruning process. So it depends on that. Yeah, these are two separate branches, but they're going to grow together. So I'm going to choose to get rid of this fruit here so that it has more physical space to grow. Oh. When you're doing this, sometimes the ones you want to keep are going to fall down. That's okay. Now, the earlier you do this, the better the fruit's going to be. That's why I said I'm kind of late on this. The reasoning for that is this tree has already put in energy to make these fruits this big. So if that energy wasn't put in it to make it that big, then it would be making edible fruit that big. Look at that cluster. Now, if you do this too early, you might be getting rid of the weaker fruits. So there is a sweet spot in there to get them. You tend to want to keep the healthier looking fruits and discard the smaller fruits or the ones that might not look as healthy. Like that one's smaller, and I mean, it looks pretty healthy, but it's smaller at this point. So I'm getting rid of that one. Look how tiny that guy is. Alright, I'm going to have to get a ladder and show you that in a minute. Here's a good example of what happens. So here's a peach, there's a peach. See that little thing in there? That was a baby peach. You just take it out. Anyway, that's a baby peach. And if we thinned way too early, then we would have this instead of the big one. So some people would thin a little bit more than I would, and that's completely fine. What you're gonna find is what's right for you and right for the tree that you have. And not all fruit trees need to be thinned. Like citrus, you don't really have to thin them, but most of the stone fruits, especially the ones that have fruits really close together, it's a good idea to thin, because that's when you're going to get the best product, best fruit out of it. So I'm going to continue. I'll show you how many I thinned when I get back. So this is about the right size to start pruning, or start thinning your fruits. So we see we have some smaller ones. First give it a good shake, make sure none is going to come off. And then just start picking them off. Pick off the small ones and the ones that are close together. And you can see as I do this, you're lightening the load. Realize that these are going to be pretty heavy peaches. So I'm going to leave 4 on that little branch, and that might be too much for it, but that's okay with me. I tend to under thin than over thin. I just feel like it gives a better opportunity for me to get the fruit. I don't know if this is in the camera thing or not, but there's a clump up further. I'm reaching over the pond. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see where that was. There we go. There's the pond, which just got water from the rain. But I am not able to get out to these because it is over the pond. So we are going to try something that I've not tried before, and that is to use a picker. So what I actually use to harvest the ones over there. But as you can see, there is a lot of fruit on there. So I'm going to try this. I have not tried this before. We'll see how it works together. So this is the picker that I use. It has tines on it on one side and a little soft thing to catch a fruit. And you just attach it onto a broomstick or a pole or whatever. If I can find, I got this at the local hardware store, but if I find it on Amazon, I'll put a link in the description. It's really good for actually picking fruit. So first thing I'm going to do, grab the branch with the tines and shake it. And it doesn't look like anything. Oh, there's one that came off. Next, because I can't hand pick where things are with this, I mean I could if it took forever, but I'm just going to kind of pull again. Well, this is working okay, not great. So this is a second tree, not the tree I started out with, but it's used, it grows basically as one tree with the one next to it. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to pick off some. It's okay if it's the ones on the end, just to give a little bit more ability to the other ones to grow. Well, I got several off, but it doesn't even look like it. But that's what I'm going to go with. We'll see how it does. Hopefully you can see how many fruit that is. Alright, so this is how much we filled up. Filled up basically a whole colander, plus the ones that were in the shade cloth I just dumped, and most of them fell into the pond. Well, but that is a bunch, and we are going to have a bunch more on the tree. So this second peach tree I didn't quite get as much thinned as I'd like, but again, it's above a pond, so it's a little hard to get to. But I did get the other one all the way done, and it looks good. So, reasons for thinning your fruit trees. Number 1, you're going to get bigger, nicer fruit. Number 2, less energy is going to go to each individual fruit if you do not do that. So go ahead and do that. You're going to get bigger fruit, you're going to get sweeter fruit, and you're going to have a higher meat to skin ratio of that fruit, which will make it taste even more sweet. So thank you for following along on our thinning, and please thin before the point that I got it. These are a little too big. About this size is the right size to thin. So, thanks for watching and have a great gardening day.